Afternoon, everybody. So, it's been a busy week, isn't it, in the home beer machine world? We've got Beerhawk have put the prices up. We've got Beerwolf for selling handles for the blade. Yeah, busy week. Few new kegs, I think. Well, actually, no, one new keg. It's not a new keg, it's an old keg. It's Lisa, or Ramola. So yeah, I used to love that stuff, but I've got to admit the last keg I had of Lisa was awful. And I had to send it back because it was literally, well, it wasn't Lisa. It was either Lisa or it was sour-faced Lisa because it was nasty. So I thought I'd do another quick video. We got firmware 1.75 came out on the 7th of September on the PD Pro. So I've just left it to it for a sort of couple of weeks. It's, it made a little difference, to be fair. I've got to admit, I don't know if that is the weather or whether that is a little slight change to the cooling algorithm. Because you can see here on the Home Assistant stuff, which records the power usage. This was the couple of days before firmware 1.75. We're getting sort of like 1.7 kilowatt, 1.72, 1.73. Firmware 1.75 hit around here. Let's have a look. It was around 10ish in the morning. You can see it had the chiller turned on for a bit whilst it was cooling that keg down. I actually put a new keg in there, so the chiller was just constantly on that night. So that days is a bit higher than what it would normally be, just because it had that cooler on. So 1.8 kilowatt the first day, but then you can see suddenly it started dropping. So this was all at 3 Celsius, all these graphs. You can sort of see slowly it was coming down. So like I said in previous videos, it's down to the weather. The weather affects obviously how much how much power usage the machines use each day. So I've got the blades down here. As you can sort of see, it's not using as much power as the PD, but that's just purely because of the way they both work. They work differently. So yeah, you can see this is the first day I went 1.75. Ignore those bits that went missing. That was just my Home Assistant server playing up. Well, actually it wasn't playing up, I was moving it. But you can sort of see, so if you went from 1.7, 1.7, 1.75 say, to suddenly 1.56, 1.48, 152, you can sort of see we've dropped, well, what's that, 1.7, well, I'd say just over 10%. So like I say, the weather did change, but I've got to admit, it does seem as though the algorithm has changed. I did touch on it in one of the previous videos, but you can see the size of the steps, because basically these steps are the cooler on, cooler off, cooler on. It's like watching Karate Kid, isn't it, really? Cooler off, cooler on, cooler off. And you can see as soon as that new firmware hit, these steps became smaller every day. So sort of cooler on, cooler off, cooler on, cooler off. And they kind of seem to shrink. You can see from the graphs where the new kegs were put in, because you get the straight lines. So a new keg there. Where are we? We've got a new keg went in there. Tell it was Oktoberfest time of year, can't you? Start drinking like a fish at that time of year. A new keg over here somewhere. Where is it? I can't even see it, to be fair. And then you've got these 3 smaller spikes at the end. So what I've done, I basically dropped the temperature of the machine down to 5 Celsius. So I actually put it up, technically, I guess. But yeah, so upped it to 5 Celsius because it was a Cali Pale. And you can sort of see instantly power usage drops another sort of 10-20%. So down to 1.12 kilowatt, 1.15, 1.23. So yeah, that's I guess it's good for those IPA drinkers among you. If you run your Perfectdraft Pro at a warmer temperature, then obviously it's going to use less power. I know some people panicking with the initial figures when the off-gen price cap came in. I've still had nothing from my power company, Sainsbury's or Eon. So on their website, it suggests that well, it doesn't really matter where you are in the country, but it suggests that they're going to charge you the full 34p per kilowatt. I think if you're with Octopus, they've said that that is just a limit and they don't necessarily have to hit that limit. So you might come in slightly less depending on where you live in the country. So I've got to admit, they're just pulling our pants down, Sainsbury's, so they're just charged us the maximum. So I've got to admit, as soon as I get the opportunity, I think I'll be jumping ship over to Octopus. So yeah, I've got to admit, but that's an aside, isn't it? So on the graph, my little old spreadsheet, you can sort of see the average came down now to 1.65 kilowatts. So if I pop that into the energy price guarantee tab, 34p per unit, 1.65 kilowatts, we're down to just under £17 a month. So as these temperatures keep coming down, the ambient temps, that figure will keep coming down. So who knows, if it's a really cold winter, then maybe you'll be down to sort of like £13-14 a month. Who knows? It's one of those things where no one's going to know until we get there, really. So yeah, it's getting there, isn't it? Really, you've still got the old ladies using less power, but we're down from sort of like in the heat of summer. The PD Pro really didn't like those hot days when it was running like 6 times the power. But now that we're coming into winter, you can see we're down to around between 4 and 3 times the power per day, basically. So yeah, there you got it. Nice and simple. Your prices are coming down. You've got that 34p per unit. I think from our costs, because we were on the fixed that runs out literally 10th of October when I look at it. So we're going up by 70%. But it's a strange one because then you get this £66 a month kickback. I think it's 66 quid a month, October, November, and then it goes up to £67 a month. So in reality, I think our monthly bill goes from £180 to around £240. So yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. The world's still going fucking mental. They're all wanting to nuke each other. So let's hope they don't. Otherwise, no one will give a shit about any of this. But that's an aside. So have a great weekend. Drink shitloads of beer and Prost. See you later.